Greetings, this is Flares. I just got back from burning my uncle. All due to fucking content creators said I did not burn my uncle. My uncle didn't die. Cause, boom. Here's the picture. I censored it. Vietnamese uncle died very young. Big family goal. I burned him today. Nice funeral. I spoke at the funeral. Just like with my tumor, the haters came at me like usual. Go fuck yourselves. Okay? Like, I call you guys fucking retards. I don't wish death threats on other people. Fucking garbage ass content creators. Fucking garbage ass retards who use 5 ecogs. Go fuck yourself. Now onto the Posse tier list. So, again, I'm gonna make the other thing. So, how does my tier list works for all you new players? For S tier, I will only ever have 5 spots on any tier list for S tier. So, what is the Posse tier list? What you should unlock? So, what does S tier mean? S tier for this is everyone uses it, no questions, for main teams, which means you're the main story team, not D-Tide. That means that if you're going for the story, if it's available, you would use these posses over and over and over and over, as they are extremely meta for the main team. A tier is just as good as S tier, however, it's used for D-Tide. That means that you're going to see these posses every fucking week. Everyone will use these A tier posses every fucking week for D-Tide universally. You'll see this everywhere. For endgame content, you will see this in specific use cases. They're not as good as the S tiers. The S tiers are, if posses are infinite use in D-Tide, no one would use anything else other than these posses. B tier. They're less universal. They're very good. They're D-Tide only, but only on very specific teams or content. Like Pollux Posse, like this, like these very specific teams. Because Voracious can be used in more scenarios. You'll see this every D-Tide. But these are more niche. Now, C tier. What is C tier on this tier list? D-Tide only, like usual. 1 or 2 specific teams you'll put this on. And it's a good second pick option. Which means if you're double posseing, these are the better options for you to pick usually. Now, D tier. You only use this as a second option in Mono Chaos or in D-Tide. Which means you never pick this as a main posse ever. Is a good second option. And F tier, you don't even use it if it's free. Now notice, unlike other tier lists, there's only 3 F tier units. Because most of these posses are good second options. Except for these 3. Like you would almost never pick these 3 posses. And I'll go over each one individually in this video and explain why I placed them as such. So let's switch over to the game. So this is, we're starting off with the S tier and why they're S tier. This is Festival of the Tide, or Sea Festival, as the previous translation is. It's draw 2, get 2 mana. That's all you need to know. You can mitigate the effects. That's all you need to know. Draw 2, get 2 mana. I don't need to explain this. You have to be a fucking retard not to realize it's S tier. Now, next is S tier. It is, you guessed it, Mouse Wisdom. Get 3 mana. You know why it's S tier. Next posse, which is the discard and the, the super discard and the caster, which takes some explaining to do as to why they're S tier. Now, the caster and the discard posse are very good for main teams universally, for the main story mode. Why? Because for the main story mode, there are many chapters and stages and gimmicks where you would slot either the caster posse or the discard posse to cheese or take advantage of the gimmick. Now, right off the top of my head, in Arc 1, let's say you're fighting the eye bosses. Both posses cheese the fuck out of the eye bosses, because you want to discard your hand to remove the lock cards in certain bosses, certain boss fights. So that's why the discard is in S tier. You won't use it unless you're a fucking idiot in story mode on specific boss fight and stages. You won't use it to counteract a mechanic for free on any team. So that is why it's an S tier. Same with caster, because in Arc 2, for the Doricine Soul Feast boss, for this gimmick, let me just go in and explain why those are good. So what is, let me just grab the caster one on any team. I'm just going here to show you guys. So why the discard and stuff is good for stages like this. Soul Feast Blend. Also, Arita's Posse is also good, but I prefer the caster one because it generates damage amp, which is more universal. So, discard. When you use it, it gives you a buff, Key Flare. And it goes into discard pile. The discard posse and the caster posse lets you draw that a lot easier. So let me just end turn here. Let me just end turn here to explain. So it is a way for you to grab that card multiple times in this chapter and any subsequent chapter. Because that gimmick card is a 0 cost. Many gimmick cards in the game is a 0 cost or become a 0 cost in story mode. So in these specific stages, that is probably the best in slot wheel. Either that or discard to get that thing again. Let me just keep going. And and let me just memory rondo. I can show you guys next turn. I want to show you guys next turn here. Again, sorry if this is a longer video. Unlike other retards, I'm very thorough in this. But keep going, and we need to redraw our deck. So we redraw our deck. So with caster, or with the Arita Posse, or with the discard, the Soul Feast is somewhere in our draw pile of 19 cards. However, since we have the caster Posse, which draws the lowest cost cards, we automatically draw the gimmick card. That's why it's S tier, on addition to the effect for many gimmick and boss fights in the game. So that's why those two are S tier, because many stages and gimmicks, you will use it. You will have to use it. So I can also show you why the discard is also S tier, but you know, you need to discard cards at times. So let's go over the other posse, the last S tier posse, Lone Seed. Lone Seed is mandatory on many comps, Jellet, Salvador, and would be extremely good on many other comps if it was infinite use. Like, you can see the use for it even in Will, even in G Murphy, even in a lot of comps want Lone Seed. Some comps want it more than others because the copy a card is very nice, especially if it's a retained card. However, there's only one of it. So that's the last S tier posse. Because on Jellet or Salvador teams, especially, you will not substitute Lone Seed for any other posse in the game. Now let's go over the A tier posses, which are just as good, but D-tied only. Like, you would hardly ever use it on a main story team because there are better options. There are better options for a main story team. So, the first one in the A tier, Vortex. If you're running a Vortex, you have to use your posse, or else you're a fucking retard. Yeah, you have to use a Vortex posse if you're running a Vortex at all. So that goes without saying because it's a free pursuit. It does good damage and is a very, very, very good posse. You will see this every D-Tide on people who actually know how to fucking play the game. Use this posse. There is no question why this is A tier. Very good. Now, next posse. Voracious Resolve. You use this not only on Pikmin, but on other teams as well to generate a card that is cheap. Very good. You will see this every D-Tide on people who actually play the game. I, however, am a gambler. I'm based. So I prefer this. I prefer this, but I place it in B tier. But I prefer this in general. Because I like to gamble. Why use that? Well, you can use this and get that. Just gotta gamble. I love gambling. But this is B tier. But yeah, this you're gonna see every D-Tide. Everyone uses it on at least one team. So next, A tier, which is Calf Posse. Calf Posse is, if you're running a calf, you have to use this posse. If you're running a calf, you have to use this posse. However, in a world where you have free will, you use Voracious this week. That is true. I use Voracious this week. In a world where you have access to Sea Festival and all the other posses, you would probably replace this with that. But again, if you're running a calf in D-Tide, using this posse, you can use those other posses somewhere else. So the next A tier wheel, which is got people head scratching, but it's very good, is actually very good, is Year End Sparks. Year End Sparks is a very good crit rate. I don't recommend, if you're buying an account from a account, then sure, have more than one account to try more accounts. But Year End Sparks. Year End Sparks is a very, very good meta posse because of Permanent Ancient Embers, which is a different corrosion stack. Which is better that resets every turn. So a lot of endgame players do use this in arcade mode or on D-Tide. So this is very good in speed run comps. A lot of speed run comps use this posse. You're not going to see this from regular endgame players so they don't do speed runs. But if you are a speed runner, you basically have to use this posse for the Ancient Ember effects because it's permanent. And the 1 a riff temporary crit rate, all of it is very good. Very, very good for speed run comps. It is a bit riskier, but the damage it gives you is insane. This posse, I don't know why I said it's wheel, insane. You'll see like the Chinese speedrunners use it. Now, NAs don't use it because the NA speedrun meta is non-existent. Let's be honest here, it's non-existent. So, it's literally just me. But let's go on to the next posse. D-Tide glasses. Him, the Mr. 5 Ecogs. So, Zoo. Zoo posse, very good. Very, very good. If you're running a Zoo, it's very A tier because of Spellbound effect. It's quite obvious. So, this next is Arita posse, which is also A tier, mostly because it's more universal. It lets you draw lowest cost cards, draw 3. So it's more flexible. You can draw it with Caster. You can draw it with G Murphy, for example. And you can even use it on main story mode where you have low cost gimmick cards. So yeah, that concludes the A tier options you're going to see every D-Tide. Now, B tier. B tier means it's very good. You're still going to see it in D-Tide, but less so compared to the A tier posses. Because it's more niche on more niche teams. For more niche teams. So let's go to the first one, which is the Compass. The Compass or the G Ramona card. The G Ramona one is very good. This one Search Draw 1. So on certain D-Tide bosses and stages, you probably want this for certain stages. To search a card, again, it's a Draw 1 card. You think of it as a Draw 1 1-mana card. For certain stages, you'll see this frequently. Same with this, because this is a Draw 1, get 1 mana card. With strength. Draw 1, get 1 mana. So it's just a little bit worse draw. So, same with this. Very good. Very good as well. Alienist, draw a card, make it free. You're going to see this frequently, and it helps you with your symptoms. So, obviously, what I like is gated answer. I like the Gamba. And notable mention, Cruel Homage. You do use this at times in D-Tide. It is specific Dorothy teams on specific stages. So, next is obviously Manchette Wheel. You will see it used with every Manchette. However, it's not universal. You're only really going to see this on a Manchette team. That's why it's B tier. Unlike the other posses, which you will see frequently. So, next is the 2 Alienist wheels, which is Teddy Bear and 24 Posse, which are both B tier. You will see it. However, it's very niche. It's more of a second option or on a 24 Alienist Exalt team. So, B tier. Now, next is the Pollux wheel. If you have a Pollux, obviously you would use this. However, only on it. It is not as universal as Calf. I wouldn't recommend pulling for Pollux versus Calf. So that's the difference. So next is the Sacrifice wheel, which is the Murphy Sacrifice. So where is it? The symbol is Dagger into Heart. Is Dagger into Heart here? Where's Dagger into Heart symbol? They need a search bar, to be honest. There we go. Dagger into Heart. This wheel, why is it B tier, players? Because it's not, it's because this is in general. You will see this is used 100% of the time by the Chinese community. This is one of the most frequently used wheels posses outside of NA. Because if you're doing a G Murphy speed run, you are using this wheel. This posse, sorry. You're using this posse if you're using a G Murphy speedrun. It's everywhere. In NA, no one's going to use this. No one's going to use this in general unless you're a Chinese player doing a speedrun. Now, why? It's to build sacrifice for speedruns in the G Murphy leaderboards. Literally, everyone who uses Blue Will, G Murphy uses it. So this one probably uses it too. Yep, Furnace. Yeah, it's literally every time it's a mono chaos, you use it to build sacrifice for the speedruns here. So that's why it's there. It's everywhere. If you're using that specific comp. So that's why it's in B tier. It's infected. You have to run it. It's one of the things you have to run it. So C tier. C tier, you only use on one specific team. And even then, it's not the best option. So, but it's a very good second pick posse option. Which means if you're double posseing, you automatically gun for one of these posses. You gun for one of these posses as a second pick. So, this, good second pick. You would never put this on any team. You would pick this as a second pick when you double posse. Same with Pikmin. It's good. Good ailments regen. I use it a lot as a second posse. Very good. Obsession Eternal. Again, you would use it a lot. Snake. Uses a lot. Sometimes on a mono chaos G Ramona 24 team. You will even use this as your main So next is where is it? This one is also very good for D-Tide. This one's also very good for D-Tide because it's Ephemeral Eternity. Gain 1 a Rift, and on many Ultra Rings and many rings in general, even Blue Ring, this is meta in certain rings. You're going to put this on your main team. If it's a Blue Ring, you put this on a Sangha team. If it's an Ultra Ring, you put this on an Arachne team. So this is meta. However, only for certain D-Tide rings. So 2 out of the 4 D-Tides, you're going to use this. So next Posse is the Flower. Where is the Flower? Again, all of these fucking... There we go. Flower. This one is good. However, more of a second option. And very niche. Its draw 2 is very good, but not as good as the other. So, very good second option. When you need quick draw, you will use it. Same with the Giant's Reign. If it's a good second option, if you're playing a G Murphy and this comes up as a second option, you would use it to fill up your G Murphy for the crit rate, crit damage, and for all the effects. Obviously. So, Horla, good mention. You would never, ever, 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 ever use this as a main Posse. However, if it comes up as a second Posse, you would almost always pick it for the heal or the strength or anything else. It's very good as a second option, not a main option. So, same with Injector. Injector is very good as a second option. You come so hard if you're playing Mono Calf and you have this come up to heal up and survive a boss. It provides very good value on, let's say, Mono Calf or even the Death team. So this is very good. Injector is very good. So next is... This is another compass. G Murphy. G Murphy's Posse is not even good on her. However, if you're desperate, if it comes up, this is 1 mana. And if G Murphy's on your team, you draw Waltz. However, it's not a good main Posse for her. C tier. So next wheel is... What is it? Yeah. Next Posse. I don't know why I keep saying fucking wheel. This. Clem's Posse is very good as a second option because of the HP gain. Because when you're double posseing, you're in between boss fights, you're in between mob fights, you grab this for the heal. You don't care about the rest effect. Why this is good is because for the heal and the strength. If it's up, I use it to heal up for the next battle. It's pretty good. And lastly, Ogier. Ogier Posse. This is one of the best double posses for the 25 to 50% crit rate as it's doubled up. This is one of the highest crit rate things in the game. So you come in your pants super hard. If this ever comes up, you would kill your family just for this crit rate on most teams if it comes up second for a burst turn. But you would never pick it as a first pick. So this is very good, especially on Mono Calf. On Mono Calf, I picked this as my finisher Posse. So let's go to D tier Posses now. So D tier Posses means you never, ever, 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 ever pick this as a first option. However, you do use it as a second option. They are viable as a second option depending on the scenario. Just not as good as any of the wheels above. Just as good with Caucus? Yeah, but it's a waste of pulls to use G Murphy with the will when she can clear on her own. So, basically, you never put this as a main option unless you're a fucking retard. So, let's go to Shoes. Shoes, which is the Liz Posse. Yeah, Liz is fucking garbage. So this is a good second option. Good 15 alien miss, good crit rate, crit damage. Never pick this as a main option. Terrible as a main option when everything else is better. Very good. So next is Wine Cup. Wine Cup. Very good second option, niche scenario. When you need these temporary strength down, the counter it gives you, not worth talking about. You pick the second option for the strength down effect. very good D tier option. However, there are better options like the Zoo Posse, like the Dorotine Posse. Those are better strength down effect options. So next is the Sango one, which is this. Very good second option. Worse than all the other things. Because it's delayed shield and whatnot. And next is Mountains Resolve, which is, let's see, where's Mountains Resolve here? I don't know the name of these things. It's just hard to, I wish I could type down because I actually know the names of most of these. No, this is Lakeside, the other mountain thing. Lakeside Glimpse. So this, if it's second option, you pick it, you move on. And then it's Riker's Posse, Gunshot, Gun Cry. So this, Dice, that can give us Vuln and Weakness, and 50% crit rate. Again, it's worse than Year's End, because this is RNG, does not give you a riff or anything, or any other effect, and this is random. So, but it's a good second option. It's a good second option. So let's go to Hamel. Again, good second option, not as good as the C or B tier posses. And the PvP Cup wheel. The PvP Cup wheel, again, if it's a second option, you pick, because it does shuffle a draw 2, gain 2 card into discard pile. However, you never pick this as a main posse. You have to be pretty insane to ever pick this as a main posse. So, next is A tier. A tier is Calf Posse. I just went over it. So, blah, blah, blah. Corpo. Again, even if you're running Corpo, you don't put this on a Corpo team. There's just so many other posses that are better than this wheel. Because it's draw 2, gain shield. It's okay. Second posse. You won't even run this on a Corpo team. You won't even run this on a Corpo team. Because there's just so many better wheels. Because it's just draw 2. It's not even targeted draw. It's not even targeted draw. And targeted draw is always better than random draw here. And it doesn't really give anything but this shield without Corpo. So again, good second option for the benefits. Not a good main option. So Beachside Memento is the next posse, which is the Umbrella. Beachside Memento. Yeah. This one, very bad. However, not dog shit. It's probably one of the worst posses for the game, because strike meta is not good. However, I wouldn't say it's dog shit. If it comes up, sure, just grab it for some reason. But it's usable. D tier, second option. So next is fucking Arachne Wheel. Arachne Wheel, again, pretty terrible posse. You do use that second option. You don't even use this on Arachne unless you're a fucking idiot. Because it's 50% damage amp, shield, and draw 1 Eternal Loom. Like, if you're running Arachne on your team, you're going to get many Eternal Looms anyway, and there are better posse you can grab than this. Because you can get Eternal Looms with other methods than drawing this. It's not as universal as, let's say, Calf. Because if you're using this to draw the Eternal Loom and getting it again, you're probably going to run Dreams on Arachne. So, if you're running Dreams on Arachne, you have 2 Eternal Looms anyway. You have to cycle through your deck. So, yeah, this is pretty bad D tier, second option. You don't even run this on main Calf. Not main Calf, main Arachne. Because on your Arachne team, you're making it around her buffing someone. So, you're gonna have a better posse idea in mind, typically. Like, yeah, it's not that good. Good second option, though. So, next is, I think it was Saya's Posse. Saya's Posse is also pretty niche. Where the fuck is it? Again, I really wish. There we go. Draw 2, gain shield. So this has the same issue as the Corporal Posse. I rate them both the same. However, it's more targeted draw. However, it's the skill effect is with Saya for the bottom effect. So gain shield, draw 2 skill cards. So again, it's not that targeted. It's only a draw 2 gain shield, as opposed to the massive draw. This is a second posse use. You never use this as a main posse. Because even if you're using Sai, which I don't recommend it, you will use her on another team to buff that specific team. If you're using it on Manchette, you're already using Monchet's Posse. If you're using her with discard team, you're already using some kind of discard Posse. If you're using her with anyone else, you're already using their Posse. So this is a secondary pick option. There's no team that comes to mind where you run Saya on that team and you want this Posse over another Posse. There's no team in the game where you would want this specific Posse over another Posse. So let's go on to the next thing, which is, I think it was Uvash. Yeah. The reason why this is in D tier is because there are many Alienist Posses. This is probably the worst Alienist gain Posse out of all of them. Not to say it's a good secondary option. Again, it's D tier. It's a good secondary option for if it comes up on a double Posse. But let's compare it with all the other Alienist gain Posses. Obviously, you have the two best ones, which is 24, which is 24 Alienist, 24 Realm Mastery, and the Teddy Bear one, which is 35, which is the highest single-use Posse. So those are better. This one is an AoE, and the sacrifice is meta. So that's better. And everything else gives 20 Alienist and something else that is better than that minuscule amount of strength. Let's say Pikmin. 20 Alienist, but an Insight in deck, which is draw 1 mana. Better than getting a strength. And even the G-Doll one, which is the Poison, better than this. It's better than the Uvash one. So this is the worst Alienist Posse, without doubt. The worst Alienist Posse, without doubt. And then we have Mountain's Resolve, which is in D tier. However, you do use it. You do use it, second option, in specific scenarios where you want certain Awakeners cards. So let's go to the dog shit F tiers, where no one ever uses this. These are so niche and so rare, no one ever uses it. Why are they F tier? It means that even if it comes down to second option, unless it's a choice between all three of them, you won't pick these options. You will never ever pick these options in your life, or I have never encountered anyone who actually uses these Posses. So let's find Skeleton. Where is Skeleton? Where is Skeleton here? These are all Posses. Again, I really wish there was a search bar. Here we go. Unequal exchange. Draw 4 cards. Now we already went over every draw card. This is the worst one. It's 4 cards. Too many cards. You're never going to want 4 fucking cards drawn immediately. And it's not even targeted. A better version? Arita. Draw 3 targeted low-cost card, and it gives another effect. No one ever uses this. There's almost never a scenario where you have the hand space, and you want, oh my gosh, I want to draw 4 fucking cards. You rather run the discard Posse or any other draw card in this. You never use this. Next is Tulu Posse. Everyone knows how fucking dog shit Tulu Posse is. It is pretty bad, because you have to use it several times to get the full effect. You're not going to use this in your main team. And as a second option, 8 Alienist, 72 shield. Yeah, this is terrible. This is terrible even as a second option. You almost never pick this unless you're desperate. Unless you're desperate, you use this. And finally, a Posse which I do use it. I think I'm the only one that ever uses it because I know how much damage I'm going to take. Occasionally. I occasionally use this, but no one else in the game. I have never seen anyone use this, even as a second option, anywhere. Anywhere. Chime in if you actually use this Posse. I'm trying to find the symbol for it here. Yeah, Salvador Posse. The delayed shield equals to 10% of damage. It's such a small shield amount. It's such a tiny, minuscule shield amount. No one uses this Posse. Unless you're desperate, and that's the only option, which is the scenario. So these 3 F-tier Posses are never, ever chose or picked. Never you chose or picked. And that concludes the Posse video.